There you go.
Well, let's get it started. I want to thank you for being here so much. I want to welcome everybody who's watching slash listening to another interview. Super excited to sit down with Gibson's Glassworks. Um,
Yo, yo.
I'll give you a little intro and then I want you to expand on yourself. He was just recently on a glass podcast. I've totally I had it all set up and I blanked on who it was. Formerly Wise Guys Media. Fill me in on what his name is now. He's
Uh, Jason Michael, the Glass Companion
Yes,
podcast.
the Glass Companion. You did that, and then you also do your own podcast, the Quadracast, right? Cool.
The Quadra.
So tell us a little bit about you, who you are, what you like to do, and then we'll get into glass.
Yeah, well, my name's Gibson. I'm 32 now. Started blowing glass when I was about 18, like 17, 18, kind of. I guess I was just about 18.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess um,
14
back in like
years.
'04 and '03, '04, whatever it would have been. It's been a heck of a trip. Um, I'm out here on Quadra Island, pretty unique scenario out here. Um, we're a bit remote, but we're still, 4 hours from Vancouver, so it's really not that far away. I can access Vancouver when I need to or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
we get that remote vibe out here. Two ferries from Vancouver to Quadra Island, so I got my little studio set up. I've been renting a shop for about 5 years from current location, and it's been the best shop yet, I would say. It's about like a 30 by 40 kind of shop. You
Mm-hmm.
were asking if it was insulated, and no, it's just like raw 2x4s with plywood and a shitty leaky ass roof that leaks in like more places that I can count.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got couple of lathes in there now. I got my main station, and then I got a rental lathe station, which that was my project basically this last year, was setting that up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I basically have a couple other rental stations, and then like my like prep kind of mustache toker area. And we have like a gallery corner, and then there's like a packing area, and then I have my little quadcast area. And yeah, it's decent little shop space there. Happy to have it. That's for sure.
Oh, that's really cool. So I've never ever heard of Quadra Island.
Where are
I
you
don't.
at?
Huh? I'm in Saskatchewan.
Okay, yeah.
I'm in the middle where everything is safe and it's flat. So, tell us about what the glass industry is like on Quadra Island. Because you said you're a little bit remote yourself, right?
Yeah, well, basically, there wasn't an industry here when I was 18, basically, I was living in Campbell River, and there was this little head shop that opened up called the 420 High Society. And I went in and I got a job there, and Mook's Glass, he came in with his briefcase full of pipes, and basically I saw those and I was like, whoa, you made these. These are like
Mm-hmm.
the nicest pipes I've ever seen, right? Like, what the hell, right? And I kind of instantly was like, you got to show me how to do this kind of thing. He's like, oh yeah, everybody says that, but you got to show some initiative. Kids fucking nothing's gonna show anybody, you know how many times people ask me to they should show them how to do, ask how to do this
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, right? Okay, so I basically went on Craigslist, and this is back like '04, right? Craigslist was like just starting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, would have been like first years kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and searched glass blowing equipment, and then I met Matty Iceberg. He was
Oh,
he was
Mock Penguin. Yep, yep.
yeah, the Mock Penguin. He had a posting there for a glass blowing torch for sale for $420. So
Ah.
I was like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, cool. Went down and bought that. Met him. He gave me like a handful of glass to go home with, kind of thing. And and then basically I went home to I was living at my dad's place at the time. Well, actually, how it went was basically soon after I met Mook, the whole head shop job kind of fell through, and I ended up moving back to Quadra,
Mm-hmm.
and I had bought this gear. And I set it up in this little camper, like in the back, um, backyard of my dad's property kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Shitty little camper, and I just like gutted the kitchen, put in a bunch of like screws and some metal, and used the actual vent hood from the kitchen to like blow glass under through my little kiln in there, and I was kind of off, and then I called up Mook, and I was like, dude, I got a kiln, I didn't even have the kiln yet. I had my little torch, and I got some glasses, and I had the vermiculite pot, and I was like, dude, I got the torch, like, you got to give me the lesson, so
Yeah.
went over and did the lesson with Mook, and he basically charged me $40 an hour to stand behind him and watch him blow glass. And he showed me how to do like a twisty cane and a mushroom pendant and like an inside out spoon type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he charged me $40 an hour to watch, and then any like talking before and after and blazing joints was kind of free.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually set me off on like a really good start for the fundamentals. Looking back, I'm happy that was the start that I took, because it could have been a not so good start.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah, that really could have went either way, honestly.
Yeah. So I was pretty happy with that. You know, I see glass blowers that have been blowing glass for, longer than me, and their skills still, are not.
They're kind of plateauing. They haven't broken.
They haven't gotten. And you're like, whoa, this is an old school style or whatever, right? But I've tried to really get out there and meet lots of people and do lots of collabs. I think that's a big thing. I think that's crucial in the whole glass world, is getting out there and meeting people and collabing. And like, I can't even count the amount of collabs I've done now. It's like fucking crazy. And most of them have gone really well. There was the odd ones that have been tricky. Sometimes can be a bit of a nightmare.
I wanted to actually ask you, since you brought up collabs, like, I've been noticing like collaborations have been like really a thing of like the last part of 2019 and more of 2020. When you started in 0304, like with MOOCs and like teachings and stuff like that, collabs weren't nearly as prominent as they were. Do you feel like,
no,
or was it?
They were totally happening. I think Mickelson said it really well too. I'm going to butcher his quote, but it was kind of like, a true collab is having two people together that make something that neither of them could make on their own.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, that's a really true thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you get together and you make something where each one of your unique styles blends together. Where the other person couldn't do that, and the other person could, and that's where it really. And then if it's unique on both ends and it's clean and then it's marketed right and and then you knock it out of the park kind of thing, and that's where the value goes up, and especially because it's rare, right? It's not only did this guy have to fly across the country or drive up the island or whatever to go and do this,
but it wouldn't be made if you guys weren't together, kind of deal. Yeah.
And sometimes there's male collabs, and then there's like forced collabs, right? So, and then there's like so many different ways you can force a collab too, right? So that's kind of like a funny joke we've been chatting about recently, like the whole forced collab, right?
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up, because I saw a post the other day that that somebody said it was a forced collab, but I think it was because he had a piece that was broken and he sent it to another artist, and the artist was like, well, I can't repair it, but I can take some of the pieces. He took the body, he took like the cab of the body and some of the neck and stuff like that, and turned it, and he was like, so basically I forced a collab. And I was like, but is that what they want to do? Because like a lot of the artists, I assume most of them that I talk to, you guys want to have your own creative flow, right? Like,
it all depends sometimes, it's like, if it's something small that you don't give a shit, it's like, for example, there's a $40 bowl and the horn's chipped, and you, rather than sending it back to me, you get somebody in Ontario to do the repair because it's already there, or, but the repairs are such a weird one. It's definitely I don't like repairing other people's work. I have done sometimes. Um, yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Sometimes I'll even message. I know the last one that I messaged the guy. I won't even say any names, but I was just like, "Hey, got this bong in the mail." But he said that you guys were not on good terms, but he wanted this fixed. Like, do you mind if I fix it? He's like, "Oh yeah, whatever. Just throw it." It was not a big. It was a joint replacement, right? It's kind of like yeah, do the joint replacement and throw it. But I'm not gonna go and like do the joint replacement and then throw some horns on there and be like, well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, when I was dealing with a repair of a piece of mine, it's really cool. Yeah, because I was asking Flavortown, I think, to do it, and he's like, you should ask Hokey Pokey, and like, because they're the originators of the art like that made it, right? So, um, really interesting that I don't know. I used to think it was like so black and white, and you're just like, meh, it's whatever. So,
Well, it's all the scenario, right? And
yeah, that's
sometimes
true.
it's not a big deal. We're talking, a $40 clear ash catcher, or we're talking a $2,000 heady,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
just like different kind of ball game, Yeah, I try to just say I like to, stay away from the repairs unless it's my own work kind of thing, right? But
yeah,
I have like a pile. It's like a repair pile at my shop of just like random shit that people have dropped off or this or that. That it's like, well, yeah, I'll throw it in the pile, but I'm not gonna get to it anytime soon,
so, so why not just tell them that you don't want to do the repair?
Well, sometimes I'll subcontract them too, right? Somebody needs some money or whatever too, or like somebody's doing a bunch of repairs that day. Then it's just like, hey, you know, sometimes said glass blower in my shop owes me $150 for rent, but there's a bunch of repairs there or whatever, and I can be like, I will throw those couple of repairs in there, and then take $100 off your rent or whatever, right? And then I
Yeah,
can hustle them out or whatever. I'm some people would never do that, or like sell somebody else's glass or have somebody do a mouthpiece of their piece. Or I've always been like I've had helpers and preppers for years, right? So
yeah.
like even like fume twisty cane, for example, right? Like
Hmm.
I remember teaching Maddie Cool how to do fume twisty cane and being like, yeah, well, you're working for me right now, so prep up some cane, and then I've got it stocked, and then practice for you, and yada yada yada. And now he
Yeah.
makes really nice fume cane, and now and then I got stock or whatever, right?
Oh, that's
So
good.
it's all
Yeah.
courtesy, right? Some
Hmm.
people really can take, and some people can give. There's that total like give take in a glass shop where,
Yeah.
um,
Well, I mean, hot
you know,
shops operate with that, with helpers and assistants and things like that, right? And I mean, like, I personally have no problem if I buy like a Giblock or whatever, and two people in your shop that were renting like helped you or something. I'm not gonna be like, oh, like why didn't I get a pure Giblock? Like just nobody's gonna argue like that.
even for example, mustache chokers.
What's that?
My mustache chokers that I do, like that's one of my production items, for
Mm-hmm.
example. So do I make 100% of that entire mustache choker every one? No.
No, no.
Like sometimes I have guys prepping the stems or whatever, right? A couple of guys can actually do them start to finish, but it's not easy. Well, it's definitely a tricky one. But I had the vision of one day, maybe there would be 10 people fucking making mustache chokers because you got that order for $30,000 fucking or 30,000 tokers or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't. And then
That
you'd have to be like, whoa, okay, we got to hire some people here, right?
yeah, that makes sense.
But till that order comes in, you just kind of fucking keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I cannot get over that piece. Uh Crazy. Look at the way that thing rips. Just crazy. I'll join
Got
you
him
on
a
some.
key. I think I got this thing for like $45 US.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
With all those millies
with
on
the
it?
bubble, with the millies and the bubble cap.
Oh my, for 45?
I think it was 45. Yeah.
That like covers the cost of clear. That doesn't even cover like, nah, never mind. That's a good deal.
Yeah. Right. I was hyped. Yeah, check out his shit though. Scotty McKee, he makes some crazy millie pulls. I saw him make. I don't have it here. I saw him do the Bart Simpson pull. I saw him do a Nemo fish at the East Coast Melt.
The
But he said
clownfish.
it. He's like, my style's a little bit of a sloppy build, but pattern always comes out in the end. I'm like, whoa, dude, talk about a sloppy build style. It was like he would literally took like a bunch of like 12 mil rod and like disc nippered it into like a campfire pile on the bench and just like rage jammed this thing onto the end of just to like get a mass. I was like, this rage with this huge like, what did he have? It was I think it was a Viper, a GTT Viper. So it's like bigger than a Delta Mag kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, it's got the 3 rings, right?
yeah. Whoa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Saskatchewan glass scene out there. It's a little different than out here, I would say.
Are you asking like what it's like?
Well, I've been out there before. I've been to
Yeah.
Saskatoon, so
Yeah. No, it's quite different. I feel that I'm really like building a scene. Um, out here at like in Saskatchewan alone. I think I'm like one of the people that are working hard to build a scene. The collectors are obviously building a scene, and the like they order directly from artists. They do whatever. I'm not mad. But like as long as it like the education and stuff needs to come, and that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm like so I'm doing everything. I just
exactly. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a big year this year. I think there's going to be some changes.
yeah.
I feel like there's going to be some new events popping up, happening.
Glass Fanatic
Um,
has lots of plans. So I'm
yeah,
really
I've been chatting with them a bit.
yeah, I wanted to try and make an event here. I don't know. I want to like, yeah, I'll figure something out. But I'd love to have an event here because it's the middle of Canada. Literally,
Yeah,
everybody has to travel the same. There's not going to be any complaints about who does what, going where, you know. And like, you don't need to be in BC to have a really good, um, event because it's just wherever the people are, in my opinion.
yeah. Well, the Alberta glassblowing scene is pretty tight. I feel like there's three You got Vancouver, you got Toronto, and then you got a central area, which is going to be Saskatchewan or the Alberta, Edmonton, Calgary area
I
type
am
thing, right?
fighting hard. Edmonton. Well, the thing is, like, there's really good shops in Manitoba, and there's really good shops in Alberta, and that's like, and I'm right here in Saskatchewan, and I operate 100% online. Okay, you can walk into there's one shop here in Saskatoon that has any handmade glass. There's only one, and a majority of that glass has been there for 2 to
That's
5,
Skunk Funk.
6 years. No, it's not Skunk Funk. No, I might be mistaken because I actually don't think I've ever stepped into Skunk Funk here during business hours, so I never looked around. Um, but I was
That's
talking.
literally the only glass that I've ever sold in Saskatchewan has gone to Skunk Funk,
Okay, yeah,
and
yeah.
I haven't
I
sold
was
anything to him in years.
yeah,
Like I haven't
yes.
sent a box of glass to Saskatchewan in over a year for sure.
Well, I'm hoping to change that. I do. I like. I'm very much a plan oriented person, so I have a list of like of in which order I've made commitments and stuff like that, and like you are on the list to order from this year for sure. That actually. I'm getting comments in here. Just one second. Damon's the only one promoting in Sask. There's also nice shops, but they don't promote anything. So they like.
Which are these nice shops? Like the only shop that I've ever dealt with is Skunk Funk. Which are the other nice shops in Saskatoon?
And he says Skunk Funk closed. I'm pretty sure. So
they're on their way to closing. Yeah, for sure.
Give me 1 second.
I was doing my quadcast the other day in my shop, and we're in the middle of conversation, and Buddy walked in the door. He was like, "Oh, hey," and I was like, "Oh, you're in the quadcast now." I was like, "Oh," sat down. And we had the 3-way conversation. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like my first few, I was like so worried about like not knowing what to say and not like knowing what to talk about. But then I was like, fuck, I don't need a list or anything. I just want to like get to know you and like know your adventure in glass and everything.
Sometimes it's nice to have some reference points if you need or whatever. But you can format it or whatever. I've been learning with the whole quadcast thing too, right? It's a fun thing, learning how to structure conversations and asking good questions that lead into things, and like trying to not talk over people and
being able to hold a conversation that's like equal and fair and everything.
Yeah. My email is tweaking out over there.
Your email's tweaking out? Okay, so my buddy said Skunk Funk closed, I'm pretty sure. Vintage Vinyl and the Joint in Regina has some handmade / Also, Empire. They do?
Vintage Vinyl, yeah, I forgot they were in. It's funny, I forgot they were in Saskatchewan because I probably haven't sent them an order in 4 years or something, right? So
where do most of your orders go? Like you're on Quadra Island in Vancouver in British Columbia. Do you get most of your orders in BC, or are you finding a lot of it going to Ontario lately?
Most of it has been Instagram. It's funny. Like I wholesaled for 10 years. Like I would just call shops, and I would have my list of shops that I would call, and they would place orders, and then orders started to dry up pretty much, and shops were closing down basically. And before it was like shops would literally order, and they'd say, "Yeah, just send me everything you have." And it's like, oh, okay, right? And like $3-5 grand or whatever, right? And they pay, and then now it's like you're trying to squeeze a $500 order out of a shop is like, I don't want to have to call shops with the impression like I'm begging for an order, right? So essentially, you have to be marketing yourself in a way that even seems like you're busy. Even if you don't have orders on the table, you're busy. You don't want to, that approach, which is hard to not do sometime, but to publicly state, "Oh, I'm doing so shitty and nobody wants to buy my glass and I have not the right mentality to be putting out there even, right? It's a hustle, right? Right, especially right now. Right now is the slowest time of the year, right? So it's tricky, and like, I wish I had 20 shops that were calling me wanting $10,000 worth of glass, but I don't have that. It's lovely when a shop actually messages you. Like, it's a really nice feeling, not when I have to message a shop, reach out, be like, "Hey, do you want an order? Hey, can I talk to the manager? Hey, do you have any bowls? Do you want to get some bowl?" Okay, it's just like when they're like, "Hey, we want to get some of your glass," kind of thing, right? But that's the key, and you almost wonder, like, why aren't these shops hitting you up sometimes, right? But they're broke and they have their list, and there's 500 fucking glass blowers calling them, wanting to sell them glass too, right? So.
Do you want to know what else I think it kind of is, in my honest opinion?
Yeah.
We're in a hype age, and so hype artists get hype orders to make headier than normal stuff, and shops are like just super picky about who they spend. Why is my cat freaking out? Shops are just super picky about who they're spending their money on. Because they only want to advertise things that are successful. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't mean to like blanket statement for all the other shops.
No, and just like I was saying though, they don't want to advertise for someone who's putting on the image that they're hurting,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? And and that's a lot of times, they're not even buying it for the piece. They're buying it for the story or buying it for the artist. Not necessarily even the piece is that sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they're buying that name and that story and that image and that hype because they got and they're pushing it or whatever, right? Yeah, it's fascinating to watch even from back this whole glass market. I've been in it for a long time now, and I've run a couple of different shops of my own, from retail to glass blowing studio type shops.
Mm-hmm.
And dealing with these shops over the years, I've called every goddamn shop in the country, and if I haven't called you, you guys probably don't advertise on the internet very well, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's interesting to see them all rise and fall. Which ones are doing, like, some are doing really well, and then you see the ones that are doing really well, and you go, oh, are you doing really well because your business is doing really well, or are you doing really well because you got like a 200 lighter that you're funneling all your money into? Oh, that's why your business is bumping. Okay, and once you kind of see, like, it's tricky to run a pipe shop where you're just selling bongs and luxury items.
It is very tricky.
Hype luxury items. Like, you're selling to a niche market, and realistically, that niche market before, and who it was, like, for like 10 years ago, it was pot dealers, pot growers, and kids who had fucking lots of money from parents and like tax checks, and like it was guys from Alberta. Alberta was huge. The oil money.
Mm-hmm.
The West Edmonton Mall was my number one shop for like the first 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
but they've dried up now, right? So, coming in with that heady Gib Broski mug.
Dude. So that's what I want to get from you. I want to get like mugs and cups and stuff. I'm starting to want to just kind of move on and out of, well, not out, sorry. I just want to move on and up from just functional like smoking glass. I want to get like functional glass for everybody's everyday life. So
mugs are hot. It's just like, if I were going to make a prediction in the next couple of years, drinkware is going to, it already has been hot.
But people are starting to look at it now. They're starting to see it differently, and they're starting to be like, oh, wow, a glass blower can make a set of 4, and they all match, but they all look different? Wow, like, it's...
They don't want to pay, though, is the thing. I've had a hard time selling cups over the years that are high-end. Like, you start to get into a $200 cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are hesitant.
Because they see how nice the cup is, but it is...
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's... Like, I've found, like, the 60 to $100, 150 on the high-end cup range is about as far as I've gone. Like, I haven't made many cups that are over $200 that have sold for that at all.
Yeah.
I made a set recently, and it was 4 wine glasses and a decanter, and I tried to wholesale the set for $350, and the shop didn't want it. They ordered the set, and then we're kind of like, no. And I was like, oh shit, okay, well.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, well, I don't. Like, that's $75 a cup and $50 for the decanter on a wholesale order that's not even reaching my minimum of $500 on my wholesale. So, so it was kind of like, and then I ended up just selling it locally for, it was like for more than the wholesale, right? So, but it was kind of one that makes you question. You're like, how much do you want to spend on a cup, right?
That's 100% not how anybody should operate. Um, it really shouldn't. Um,
Is what it is, though.
so the one thing that I got a comment about was like he said the Joint Regina isn't good. They don't have any good bangers, so I don't usually shop there. And all their headies have been on the shelf for 3 to 5 years and are the same price. Do you think that like after a certain time that like these shops should just have cut their losses and maybe like made it price to move so they could have kept supporting the Canadian artists like
Well, yeah, and from my understanding, like I've only dealt with the vintage vinyl there. From my understanding, the Joint was like more of the lower end China shop in town. So I tend to if there's one small town, I'm gonna deal with the shop that's trying to support the local glass first, and then usually the smaller China glass is gonna try and compete with them. And I usually choose to not deal with. I've chosen to kind of go a more exclusive type thing, right? In town type thing. I won't. I've tried to not do that the most that I can, right? Dealing with the shop down the road from your good shop, that's not a good business move in my books. And then getting to your whole price thing, like, well, let's just say it was I don't know what pieces we're talking about and what kind of price range they're at, but let's just say they're a $300 wholesale colored push bubbler from 5 years ago or something like we're talking about, and they've got it marked at $1,200. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So they've tripled or quadrupled the price. And if they have it at $1,200 on a $300 wholesale, then yeah, that's called. I usually call that Alberta markup. That's what we called it back in the day because that was like the.
Okay, nobody should be marking like handmade Canadian glass three times.
No, so if it was sitting there, thank you very much. Oh man, that looks so awesome.
I'm sure.
So if it was sitting there, that $300 wholesale piece, if it was sitting there at, wanna wave?
Hola.
So yeah, if that $300 wholesale piece is sitting there in the shop at $5.99 and it's not moving, well, you got to ask, why is it not moving? Is it because it shouldn't have been $300 wholesale in the first place? It should have been, $120, and they just kind of chinsed them, and they're trying to now sell this piece that realistic, and that happens. Maybe it's a male joint, and nobody wants those anymore. So you see lots of those sitting around.
Yep.
Maybe it's just an ugly piece, and nobody wants an orange rig with green horns coming off of it, and maybe it's not appealing. There's so many factors. Maybe it was the store's fault, and they have it displayed, down over there, not prime with Canadian made and the artist name and yada yada yada. Has it been posted on Instagram lately? There's so many factors that come into play there, right? I feel like that's like realistically when you go and sell that $300 wholesale piece to the shop and they're trying to sell it for $600, they're making a markup. And why are they making that markup? They're making that markup because they're going to market your work. That should be the idea, not just put it on the shelf and then make money on it. That's not the idea. They're putting it on there so that they can, put it on there, explain, tell their customers, get it out there, educate their client base, so that they're going to want to order more. Right? Would be the concept, but it comes to be more about the markup and the money than the the educating and the explaining in a lot of ways, and it's turnover, right?
So. I've never had it explained to me that way. So, do you think then? Oh, where was I going with this?
Because what's the shop's job, right? The shop's job is to market and to sell, right? They're gonna tell the customers how dope these pieces are. Their employees need to be educated. We need to be saying to the customer that comes in, hey, look at how dope these are. These are all the local pieces. And some shops are really good about it and they really hype it up. Have you ever done this? Have you ever called a shop and asked for your own work? I've done that before. You just call, call display kind of fucks things up. You got to do it on a different phone number or whatever. But you call and you go, hi, do you have any Gibson Glassworks in the store? And wait for the response. Yeah, let me check. Or Gibson's who? And you're like, Gibson's Glassworks? I think last time I was in there, I saw you had some of his pipes. Do you have any left? Oh, and you can really see. It's almost testing. You test the shops to see if they're actually on it a lot. A lot of them are not on it, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, honestly, I think I want to tap into the the market educating and you mark up that piece to market the artist and market the piece and the story and everything like that. I think in early 2000s, when did I start with Headies? I think it was 2013, 2012, somewhere around there is when I started being a collector and getting into Canadian art and I got a piece with a story, and that was what did it for me. I got a piece with a story. It was a Mimsadelic Walter C piece, and the Mimsadelic did Purple Lollipop and Green and Slime, and Walter C did a toner tech printing on it, and it was a neat little jammer, and that's what did it. I don't think that in 2019 many of the store owners do that education and passing a story along. Well, first off, here I go to any store, they have no knowledge of Canadian glass. I walk into one store that's on my way home from work, and I literally think he keeps the doors open because he thinks that the company runs itself at this point. He's got China glass everywhere. I walk in, I don't see any, there's no handmade glass there. But his China glass sales, his butane sales, his torch sales, things like that is now his grow equipment is just keeping his doors open and automating that. And
He's hustling. It's that type of he's
it's the wrong
he's running
hustle,
his.
though.
It's for some people that's somebody's got to sell lighters and butane and things, and is that the market that I'm gonna try and approach?
No.
You just let them do their thing, and are they competition to me?
No.
They're not selling the same thing as me, so what you can look at them and you go, well, how do I utilize this business to better my business? Well,
you can't.
Really going and give the guy a sticker. Maybe he'll check some shit out, What are you going to do, right? You could go drop some shit off. If you really want to do, you could drop some shit off and say, hey, do you want to buy these? Maybe he will, but is it something to really push toward? No, and it's those people that actually want to help out. And right now, from what I've seen in the last few years, the only people that actually want to help better the scene are a few store owners, but it's more of these online shops that are popping up. That's a sole individual that doesn't have enough money to open up their own shop, but have the drive and the love.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of these shops, they're not calling me, but I'm getting calls from people that they're trying to start up their online business or this or that. It's more, they're starting up. So, which is funny, right? It's I'm not getting calls from my loyal clients that we've done business with for 10 years, but I'm getting calls from new clients more. Mm-hmm. So, you see, why is that? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's kind of interesting, right? So you go, okay, well, it's a changing market. There's new shops opening. There's this whole legal system. How many legal shops are in Canada now? Probably more than 500.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Then you go, okay, well, how many legitimate head shops are there that are selling Canadian glass? Not more than 500. So you go, okay, well, there's way more of those. You know, if you were going like, okay, I'm going to be smart businessman trying to sell lots of glass, maybe you're going to try and tap into that market. Or you're going to go, oh no, I'm just going to stick with my loyal fan base of dedicated customers that, you know, or you do both, right? You know, but you know, it's kind of like riding that wave and going with the times because things change so fast. It's, you know, even a few times a year the fad is going to change, right? You know, remember, you know, at one point everybody wanted oil dishes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that fad, but for a year that was like the hottest thing ever, was to have like a butter dish, right? When dabs were first coming, oh, you gotta have your dish, right?
And now everybody just wants whatever kind of fucking jar because you just toss it.
Yeah, when was the last time you saw anybody have their dabs in a dab dish?
Nobody in Saskatchewan's ever had a dab dish. You know what? I gotta get a dab dish. I gotta bring it back.
You know, where I have seen it, though, is the guys rocking those nectar collectors, right? The dab straw type thing in there.
Oh, yeah. They've got those custom little, like, those little Boro plates.
Corey Glass, he brought it back because he was making his heady jars that fit the silicone, like, Kind Selections lids.
Yes.
And they also fit into the 30 mil banger, so you can rock it as, like, the insert. Pretty heady.
That's pretty smart.
Really. Yeah.
That's pretty smart. That's pretty cool. Interesting.
Yeah, you know, the heady, I've made a couple before, the little banger inserts, but you can do heady ones, right?
That's really fucking cool. I gotta, like, take a look at that. Jeez.
So, you know, it's like, where's it gonna go next, right? It's like, you know, right now it's dabs. It's funny, well, you know what 2019 was? It was the year of the Puffco Peak.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and then oh, I didn't even consider that. Like, yeah, it was the year.
Are you kidding me? That was the biggest revolutionary game changer in the glass scene this year, hands down.
See, and now I have to claim my ignorance on that because I was like, it's not glass. I don't care. And I literally didn't pay attention to the peak. I didn't give a shit. And now I'm like, oh, dang. If I probably could have.
Bubble caps.
Peak caps, right? Yeah.
I watched Buddy in my shop do orders of them. Right? $2,000 in fucking peak caps. Crazy. You know, but then now, is that shop sitting there being like, fuck, I got 20 peak caps and nobody's bought a peak in months.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Now it's just going to be like the trickle down of peak.
That's how you can get stuck on things, though, right? Where right?
That's interesting.
So who knows?
I wonder if I've done good in being ignorant by doing that, because I literally just, what I order and like what I discuss is literally like between me and you, and like maybe some like feedback from clients, or like, you know, if I'm like, hey, I'm gonna order from Gibson's or whatever, and you know, somebody's like, hey, like I want this in that order, you know, then we talk like about that. But like for the most part, I'm just like, yo, I kind of want this, I kind of want that. Do your like thing to it, and I'll sell it because I like it, you know.
Well, and that, you know, buying to flip is different than buying, you know, if you're buying glass to flip. If we were having a business conversation right now of like how to make money, you know, do you want to buy glass to flip, or are you going to buy glass to hold on to and smoke? And you know, we're gonna have okay, so you know, clearly this is a guy who's going to be buying glass that he wants to flip. So you're going to need a really nice one, and then you're going to need at least 3 or 4 basics, right? You're going to need 2 nice ones because you're going to have to smoke one of the nice ones. You're going to have 1 nice one for sale, and then you got the basics for sale for the guys that can't afford the nice one. Pretty much, right? And then it's like that would be you'd have to start that way, and you know, you're smoking the nice one. Everybody, you know, have a try this one. Oh yeah, look, pretty dope. Yeah, you can have one too. It's $1,000 though. Oh, don't have $1,000? Well, these ones are
$2,000 though.
And I have 5 of them if you like. Oh shit, you have 5 of those? Okay, and then boom, it's sold, right? But you have to have 5. If you only have 1, you know, it's just like that would be
like if I only have a heady one. You mean? then you're
Yeah, if you only had the one heady one, you're sitting there smoking to try and make a business of selling those. It's like it doesn't work really, right?
Interesting.
It could. You could. I could sell you that heady rig with the intention that you're gonna smoke that heady rig on your show and be like, look at how fucking dope this is. Hype it up. Take pics, slow motion dab vids. This will be available soon. And then you go and clean it with your perfect cleaner. It's clean, sterile. Run it through the ultrasonic cleaner. Take a picture of it. Now available. Now everybody fucking wants it. But or maybe they go, hey, I've seen it. Who knows, right?
Okay, so we're gonna have a business conversation right now for a minute. I want your opinion because this is something that okay. Before I definitely know what I want to say to you, but I want to get to these comments real quick because like Big Load's like blowing up my. Oh gosh, that was just a bad thing.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
Blow it up.
So who blows glass in Saskatchewan though? I can't find anyone on IG or anything. Well, there is Heb's Glassworks who I need to get a hold of right away. But that's it. Peaks are getting more expensive and the new devices are getting cheaper. The portable rig scene is hype beast territory. I don't think it's as much of a heady scene. I disagree because honestly I should have paid attention. I saw the signs and I just chose not to pay attention, but like Kahuna Glass probably sold 60 or 70 peak tops in like 5 months.
Yeah, well, you go, how many did he sell in 2019? More than 10, more than 20, probably more than 30, including all the proto ones. 50? Yeah, I'd probably guess around 50.
Yeah.
Right?
And,
if he was
now
doing
it's
proto
nothing.
ones.
I think like glass is kind of making a turn to back to like flower and bongs and stuff like that, and people are really wanting to like flex their big bongs. You know what I mean?
Flowers back, and why is that? Oh, it's because legal market has fucking taken over in a lot of ways. People can grow their own weed. There's abundance of flower, and dabs are harder to find. Well, not that they're harder to find. You can still order it, but you can't. The dab bars and the dispensaries aren't as common.
The dab, I think like the dab market and everything is going to like ebb and flow at a plateau right now until that abundance of flower turns into an abundance of rosin presses and an abundance of people who can make rosin properly at home, and then they want to smoke this premium handmade rosin on their rigs, right? So
that $180 a gram Whistler Tech.
Nope. How about a big fucking nope?
Yeah.
That's
no.
right.
Once squishing is awesome, man. It's I've been squishing for years now, and seeing it all happen. I was always into glass blowers. I found were on the internet and kind of like ahead of the game when it came to weed a lot of the time, and like I was always trying to be what's next on the market. From the tie swing to open spraying to when rosin came out with the hair straightener, and then rosin plates and silkscreen bags, and the evolution of it all. I'm super curious to see like where it's gonna go. I feel like the direction where it's kind of going is this bulk, mass-produced, midsy, legal swaggy shit, which is that's going to kind of flood things. And then there's like the ultra black market. It's like it's turned into the dark web now,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, let me get back to what I wanted to ask you. You go ahead and drop your rosin.
Yeah.
I got some good rosin here that I'm going to be dabbing. The thing that I wanted to ask you, since like we want to have a business conversation now.
Yeah.
Do you think and this has always been kind of just my mantra, like kind of my thing. Do you think I should like dab on a piece to like build up hype on it, or is like just doing a function video and like I don't know if you've noticed or not, but like my photos in like the last few months got a lot better, I was able to like perfect.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, like I was able to perfect like the black background and some stuff like that. But like I've always just thought that like the joy of hitting the rig first was kind of an appeal that people wanted.
Well, and that's why I was saying you have one for yourself. That's the heady one. The other one that's the other heady one that's for sale, and then the 5 clear ones, right? Because you're always hitting that. I'm just looking at like for the Dabber Hashery. Do you follow them?
Yes.
They're over in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
So he was the one that pushed the Giblock the most this year out of any one of my shops. And I think he sold the most Giblocks out of any shop in Canada, and it was his first year ever selling Canadian glass.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, it's kind of like, the rookie just blew y'all out of the water there, shops, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm looking at my numbers, I'm going, well, how many Giblocks did West Edmonton Mall sell? 0.
Uh-huh.
Right? How many did Dabber Hashery sell? Well, it was more than 10, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, he's pushing it. And what did he do every fucking day? He hit his fucking Giblock rig in his story and on his live stream and posted really nice photos of it. And then,
like, he posted like personal dabs in his feed with things for sale.
No, he has like his, because he ordered his wholesale order.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I want one for myself.
Yeah.
That's like drippy and yellow, and I made that for him. And he hits that in his video all the time. And then when you look on his posts or whatever, it's all of his store for sale stuff or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So I'm just going, it's like the shop that promoted it the most by smoking it every day was the one that sold the most rigs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, if you were a shop, and let's just say you were smoking, what are you smoking? A Flavor Town there?
Yep.
There you go. So, see, if you were smoking that Flavor Town every single day on your story with really nice photos, new dabs, high def, fresh banger, new drop down, throw an extra carb cap in there. Oh, yeah, nice, And you have those for sale, you're clearly going to sell more of those than Giblocks. Right? Because that's the one that you're smoking every single day and showing off, and that, know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's the use what you promote kind of thing, right? Look at Joe Rogan or whatever, right? All of his sponsors are things that he actually fucking uses, right? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, that, just like that shop, the girl behind the counter at the shop, she's not going to sell any Giblocks if she doesn't know what a Giblock is.
Yeah.
Right? How many Giblocks is she going to sell if she's like, a Gib what? None. She won't sell any that year. Right? So it's plain and simple, right? It's,
Just
is the Dabber Hatchery the biggest shop? Do they have the biggest clientele? Is it the most walk-by traffic? No. Not at all. Right? But they promoted it. So, no, it's huge. It's huge, right? It's and it's funny, I didn't do any business with the Dabber Hatchery before this year.
Yeah.
And I heard them on the radio. The CBC radio. Yeah, they were, I listen to the CBC, right? And they made it on the CBC because of their name. They had some controversy with because they were called the Dabber Hatchery. So they had some controversy on there. And just making that phone call and talking to them for the first time, making that connection. Turns out that he's got a friend that's living on Quadra that owns the pizza shop. And he's like, oh yeah, my buddy owns the pizza shop on Quadra. He told me about it. I was like, oh wow. So we made the connection, he made an order, and then, we turned into my best shop this year, right? From 0 to number 1. Like, it just goes, like, it's, I don't know. It's pretty wild. I haven't had any other shops do that, really. There's been a couple that have done really well, but to go from 0 to number 1 in a year or whatever, is pretty good, I would say. And
It's
that did have a lot.
dedication.
Pardon?
It's dedication.
Yeah, and it did have a lot to do with the other shops that were number one in the previous years falling. It's like that top of the charts list, right? You start to fall down, and somebody else is gonna take that lead, right?
Yeah.
It's tricky. Yeah, Canadian glass scene though. I hope it bumps. That's why I started that whole Canadian Glass Collective. Make sure to check that out. Made sure to fucking get that started, trying to like network people together, and basically trying to like keep tracks of who's in it, right? Who's in it to win it, right? Who's all in? It's kind of that poker analogy, right? Are you all in, or are you sitting back and like calling, right?
Yeah. But you just don't get anywhere if you just sit there and call, right? Like it just.
No. Yeah.
Well, shit. This conversation went way different than I had anticipated. But I am so.
I usually do that. Sorry.
I am so fucking glad I got to sit down with you, man. I feel like we had such a good conversation, and I probably learned more than the listeners, so I'm okay with that. But I know you're hungry. You got food waiting there.
Oh yeah, I'm chilling. Any more questions in the chat there coming in, or is everybody having a good night?
Just been the one buddy here, my one buddy from Regina, but I mean he gave us pretty good fucking intel for like
I appreciate
Regina. Yeah, big
I
load
appreciate
420.
it, man. Thanks for popping in there with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. I'm totally wanting to sit down with you again if you're chill.
I love doing this kind of. That's why. I'm into it.
Quadracast and like, man, come to the island and we'll like chill. I'll come to the studio. We'll do a fucking hangout and shit. It'll be fucking sweet.
I'm gonna be in Newfoundland the last weekend of March with Kahuna. We're at the Dabberhatchery. We're doing a glass blowing event there.
Oh, what? Okay.
Dude, he's flying us out. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
That's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like dedication. How many other shops are doing that? It's just like fucking rights. So anyway, I give mad props to those guys out there. The boys, props to them in St. John's because it's rough out there. They just got plummeted with snow.
Yeah, they're on like state of emergency. Yeah.
Yeah.
So shit, like, yeah. That's crazy though. That's super crazy. I'm gonna message those guys. That's pretty fucking sweet that they're flying you out and everything. So.
Yeah, so we're gonna do, because they've never done any glass blowing events ever out there, and basically, from my understanding, is a lot of people are on the fence of whether or not this heady scene is worth jumping into. So he's like, we've got to get you guys out here to show them what it's really about.
Yeah, and like, because like the beautiful part is like seeing it go from a cane to a piece. It's like, what the fuck? Because the whole time you're like, yeah, I'm watching, I'm understanding. You're like, I'm done, and I'm like, what? What the fuck?